being here.
Thanks
President
for
Biden
having me.
tonight, of course, President Biden on stage tonight. What do you want to see out of him as the head of the DNC?
Well, listen, I think the president needs to do three things. The first thing is make sure that he talks about his record of accomplishments and achievements. This is a president that has really accomplished more in 4 years than most presidents accomplish in 4 years. From the American Rescue Plan to the bipartisan infrastructure law. And mind you, Donald Trump talked about infrastructure every week and never filled a damn pothole. But Joe Biden got it done in his first year, the largest infrastructure investment since Dwight Eisenhower. The PACT Act for our veterans, the Inflation Reduction Act, investing in beating back the climate crisis, and also our health care, and so much more. This president has gotten a lot done. So he needs to talk about that record. He needs to talk about his vision for the future and what he wants to get done in the next 4 years. And he has to paint the contrast with Donald Trump, how Trump has been a disaster his entire life. Not only as a president, he was a disaster, how he dealt with COVID and the insurrection, but even as a businessman. And so if he does those three things, Joe Biden will win this debate, and I know he will.
All right, so I hear you there, and you say the president has a story to tell, but let me show you some numbers, Jamie. Three polls leading into this debate looked at the favorability rating of both Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Here they are, New York Times, Quinnipiac, Gallup. Trump right now, favorable views of each, you can see, is running well ahead of Joe Biden, 6, 9, and 8 points. And then on the other side, the unfavorable views, once again, is running well ahead of President Biden by some 10 points or so, give or take, if not significantly more than that. So, Jamie, the country right now is saying that they view Donald Trump in a more favorable light than they do President Biden. How is that the case, in your view?
Well, I am sure those are probably very similar to the polls that many of you all tried to show me during the midterms that showed that Democrats were going to be blown out because of this big red wave. And we saw what we had was a bunch of red tears. In the end of the day, the only poll that matters is the one that happens on election day. And Democrats have demonstrated since 2020 that every time we go to the polls, every time the American people get an opportunity to vote on their freedoms and this democracy, it is the Democratic Party that comes out, the party that is fighting for American freedoms, that comes out the victor. And that is going to be the same thing in 2024.
I don't need a poll to explain this, because if you've been to the grocery store, Jamie, you know. If you've been out to dinner or whatever, everyone knows in this country how high prices are. But let me show you, and this really hasn't budged. On the economy, do you feel that the economy is excellent or good? 35% say so. Not so good or poor, 66%. That's basically two-thirds of the country. You know the old adage, Jamie, it's been this way for a few decades. It's the economy, stupid. That's how races are won. And so if we're heading into July 4th here, and two-thirds of the country is saying this economy is not for me, how does the incumbent win?
Because many of the folks, again, you guys spend times on polls. I spend times on the ground. I've gone from Alaska to North Carolina to Florida, and I'm talking to voters in this country who are so grateful for the things that Joe Biden has done in order to improve the quality of their lives. Those folks who are diabetic, who are now paying $35 a month for their insulin instead of the hundreds of dollars that they were paying. I was just with a group of entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, and many in that group have benefited from the student loan debt relief that the president, Joe Biden, ushered in. The same people who are telling me that their stock in their 401ks is at the highest level they've ever seen.
And what are they telling you about their grocery bills?
Say again?
What are they telling you about their grocery bills?
Well, we have also seen that inflation and the cost of some of the groceries have gone down in the last few months and will continue to go down. We've also seen that a lot of these people who did not have jobs 4 years ago under Donald Trump, and they now have jobs. And those jobs are paying higher than what they were paying. And so there's a lot of good in terms of the economy. People are doing better relatively. And Joe Biden understands that and understands that there's so much more that needs to be done. And that's why he needs to win. And he needs to get a Democratic House in the United States Senate so that he can work with all things done.
Thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider.
And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.